Hey guys, the title might be a little bit clickbaity, but I feel like most people are going a very specific build right now, especially in the Pro Series with Taunt Varian. And what they're doing is they're going Lion's Maw, and then they're going Taunt, and then they're going Shield Wall. And while this is a very good build, the problem that I found is a lot of these things have been nerfed enough to where they're not that effective. So I want to show you guys a build that I've been finding to get a lot more value, and I've been doing an analysis of pro games and found that the pros that are playing this build also tend to be winning more. So not only is it easier to play and easier to get more value out of in Hero League, but it's also has a higher win rate in pro games as well. But it's still the lesser picked build. So I'm going to explain this build, and it's not going to be like this super surprising build because it's still out there. But effectively, this build is based on two concepts. The first concept is by charging a lot, and the second concept is by parrying a lot. So what I mean by that is it's all based around picking a different set on level 10. The most common pick is Shield Wall. And what Shield Wall does is it gives your parry protected, it lowers the cooldown by a little bit, and it removes your second charge. But the problem is that removal of the second charge makes it to where it's sometimes a worse talent to pick up than anything else. Meaning, if you didn't pick a talent at level 10, sometimes it's better to literally not pick Shield Wall. In that case, you get Warbringer. Well, Warbringer reduces the charge cooldown by 8 seconds and allows it to be used on allies, meaning it's going to have a 4-second cooldown. All right, and you can charge to allies. Well, a problem with tanks a lot of times is you jump in, you do value, and then if you don't have an escape, you're dead. Well, in the current meta, a lot of the tanks we use have escapes. You've got ETC who can charge out. You've got Tyrael who can jump out. Even Diablo can just push a minion or one of the people that's trying to body block him away and then still walk away. So a lot of the main tanks that we have escapes. Well, this also gives Varian an escape. Every 4 seconds he could charge in, charge out, charge in, charge out. Or he could keep charging people. Now at level 13 you get increased charge damage by 4%. It's really strong. 4% of their health. So every 4 seconds you're doing 4% of their health. Effectively, you're doing 1% per second against a tank that's in your area. Not to mention the fact that you're going to be constantly getting the overpower extra damage from a heroic strike, as well as you're going to be getting constant auto attacks off, which is going to be healing you. So you're going to be able to stay in fights a lot longer. So I wanted to show this build for the pro area as well. As you can see, this build does have the highest win rate, and it's not picked the most. There's a lot of builds that are picked more than that. But this particular build is picked a decent amount now, and this is from Master League, masterleague.net and hotslogs.net. I like getting my information from both. But this build's pretty simple. Now I'm going to go over the build in a game that I play. Now I'm skipping a large portion of the game because I wanted to show you guys we are losing in this game. We are losing the top fort, we're losing the bottom fort, and I'm going this build and we're just not doing enough damage. Most of the people were not finishing off, so I really wanted to share a game where I'm starting off and I just wanted to show once you start getting some value off of this, you'll see how much value you do end up getting. So, I'm probably going to die here. Oh, wait, we have Medivh. Never mind, I'm fine. He can always just portal. Or I can just... Diablo can save me. A little bit of frame skips, but I apologize for that. This video is not going to be that long. Okay, so... The build's wave clear is low, but the only other build that has any sort of wave clear is the Lion's Maw build, and it's not really anything noteworthy. But I want to show you. So the build, again, Overpower is the first talent you're going to get. Then you're going to get Taunt. These synergize really well as you do bonus damage, usually 2 times with your Heroic Strike. And then you get second wind. The reason why is because you're always going to be able to get a couple auto attacks off every time you charge. So you charge, auto attack, heal yourself. Charge, auto attack, heal yourself. And it gets a lot of value. And if you miss your Qs, I mean, I think I was going for the minions. But you can see the cooldown's low on charge, meaning I'm always getting a slow. Every 4 seconds I get a slow, I get an auto attack. they have a really strong combo, which makes it kind of tough to fight them. But still, slow, auto attack, slow. It's just easy to always land this every time. Charge, slow, taunt, auto attack, auto attack, auto attack. You get the most amount of value in this build just because the amount of charges you get off. It's seriously a 4-second cooldown right now, which gives a pretty large slow, 75% slow, followed by you can always taunt right after the slow, and now it does percent health damage. It does 4% of their maximum health, meaning I can melt this Diablo even if he has that extra spell armor at level 7. So this gets a lot of value, and you can see like these fights appear, and it's literally just charge, taunt, charge, and I'm just getting so many auto attacks off. I accidentally hit a portal there, but I'm just able to get so many because the charge cooldown's so low, and it gives them movement decrease by 75%. That literally it's just charge, slow, auto attack, Q. Every single like time the charge is up, I get value out of it. And I want to show you guys something else that's kind of interesting. Is we were losing in the early game, and like I did half of his health. Like I'm gonna scroll this back just for a second. I want to show you how much damage I do in this little fight by myself. Like Artanis gets off 1 Q, right? He gets off a Q in a swap. So watch this for a second. I wait. I want to see if he takes a step forward, and he does. Okay, right there. I already did probably about 8% of his health with just a charge in, percent health damage, slow, auto attack. That got the crit off the first time. Now I'm going to do parry. Since he's taunted, I normally do parry. But you can see I get 3 sets of damage off right here. Oh, sorry, those went on the minions. One of those goes to him, 260 damage. So, again, Artanis still hasn't done anything, and I've already gotten him down 25% of his health. Artanis did a swap now, and that's all that Artanis has done is a swap. I got another crit because I did my parry, followed by a reset on a heroic strike. So now I've done half of this person's health by myself. Again, another auto attack, another parry, which turns into another heroic strike. Followed by, I'm going to have another charge back up in a second. Charge in, one more auto attack, and he's dead. So you can see, I was able to kill Kael'thas under tower, mostly by myself. I didn't really get help until the very end there, and I would have been fine to kill him even without the help. And you can see, it's a very powerful build for dueling people, but it's also just a really strong build in fights. And there's a fight later on where I show precisely how strong it is in fights. Well, I can show in this fight too. So this is another fight. Everyone's up on both sides. Everyone's thrown out their ults. Everyone's thrown out everything. Our Artanis is likely going to die here just because of the way that the fight is positioned. And we've already wasted a lot of our abilities. So they still have Phoenix up. They still have Rain of Vengeance up. All I have is my charge, my taunt, and just basic stuff. Now I want to show this fight pretty slowly of how it goes and how I utilize this build. So we start off, and I try to position down so I don't take the damage that they're using to try to kill Artanis. And I charge in because I want to kill off Kael'thas. He hasn't used Phoenix yet, and I want to see if I can get him killed before he uses Phoenix. I taunt, I get an auto attack, I get my bonus damage from my heroic strike, then I activate parry, and I get the bonus damage. Well, I was about to get the bonus damage from another heroic strike, but he ends up dying. Even without Kael'thas assisting me in that, Kel'Thuzad assisting me in that, I would have killed him with my heroic strike. Now that I'm in this side, I activate my parry one more time, just so I don't take the extra damage from them, as well as I do more damage to Diablo. I'm not really sure who I want to fight in this scenario because they have a lot of healing from Deckard, and I don't have enough damage to kill Deckard. So as it stands, I'm going to probably split my damage as evenly as I can until my team decides if they want to come in closer. So you can see just the amount of auto attack damage I'm doing to Diablo is pretty high. Then the percent health damage, and he's dead. Now right here I get a Medivh shield, which I start off with a parry to survive the last hit from Vala, and then I get a Medivh shield. and I still have second wind, so I can still get a lot of healing from just auto-attacking, especially when I'm lower health. I use a portal to just back up a little bit, and then I go back in, I taunt, and I use my healing, and we get her low enough, I do a charge to finish her off. So the amount of mobility in this build is incredible. Like, you're able to charge every 4 seconds, and you get so much value from charging. And another thing that people underestimate is your amount of slows. You charge, you slow them for 1 second, right? Then you use a Q, which slows them again for 1.5 seconds. You can reposition, and then you can have your charge off cooldown and slow them again. This combo here that I do to keep Deckard slowed slows him long enough to get my taunt off cooldown. And then I get my taunt off cooldown, I reposition so I can body block him. And then I have my charge back off cooldown so I can slow him again. And once my charge is back off cooldown, I almost have my Q back off cooldown. So if you're chasing someone, not only your mobility will keep you right up to him the entire time, but you also can just keep people pretty much permanently slowed in a chase. So if someone makes a mistake of pushing out too far or being out of position, this build punishes them so much. So not only is this build amazing for repositioning yourself, not only is it amazing for getting a lot of damage off. Like, I want to share something. Look at the hero damage right now. I'm out damaging Kael'thas, I'm out damaging Vala, and every single damage dealer on my team. I am the main tank in this game, and I'm doing the second highest amount of damage. I've got, out of the kills, I'm the second highest amount of kills, too. So this build does a stupid amount of damage. It's got so much mobility, and people say, oh, well, we don't pick this build because it's not as tanky. But the problem that people aren't understanding is this one can reposition so much easier that it doesn't matter if it's not as tanky. Like, I can always just jump to my team, get a couple heals, then jump back in. Here's another fight where now this time I have the level 16 talent, which is the Banner of Ironforge. This gives 20 armor to everyone in the team, and I likely place it right around here in case they try to dive in. Here's another fight, another example. They've used all their abilities, and I just walk in, and I get, what is that, 30% of his health off immediately, getting my crit damage off, and then I just finish him off. And there's Diablo. I can do percent health damage to him. I can't reveal her anymore, so I just back away from her because there's no way else for me to reveal her. But I can simply walk down, and if any of them make the mistake of staying too long, I just jump on them. It's one of the strongest builds that a lot of people don't do. I mean, we came back from this. Like, we were losing, and the second, because you hit different power spikes. Another thing that people don't understand about Varian is, like, he hits his first power spike at level 4, and if you start losing after level 4, he doesn't really hit another power spike. Like, he kind of does at level 10, but the power spike that he hits on level 10 is nowhere near the power spike that everyone else hits at level 10. So you need something else to gain a stronger power spike, and that's why I like this level 10, level 13 combo, is now you're doing essentially 1% of someone's health per second, and you can adjust that around wherever it needs to go. So it's really, really powerful. The rest of his talents are not that strong, but this synergy alone is huge. With this build, you get a huge synergy at level 4 because not only are you getting the overpower stacks from your taunting them and then they auto attack you and you get your extra damage off on this, but also you hit another power spike at level 13. So it's just a really strong build that holds into the end game, I feel, better than the usual tank build. And it tends to have a higher win rate in pro games. So whenever you see people always pick Shield Wall, I recommend just taking another shot at Warbringer. Now, I do want to go into one of the later fights in this game. And while I'm going into this later fight, I want to explain something kind of interesting. When should you not take this build? Well, the first thing is, without getting Juggernaut, half the value of your Warbringer is kind of wasted. You get the slow still, and you get the ability to get away from people, but you lose all the percent health damage. So if you're not going to be picking Warbringer, say you're going to be picking Shattering Throw or Mortal Strike, what I think at that point you should do is you should look to changing your whole build around. which means if you're not going to be getting Warbringer, that means you're going to be getting Shield Wall, which means that you're going to be losing one of your charges on your W, which means that Overpower is going to lose some value, which means it's better to get Lion's Maw at that point. And if you're getting Lion's Maw, you might as well be trying to get the bonus healing from Lion's Maw as well, because you're not going to be always guaranteed to get those extra auto attacks in. Why I say that is because I get most of my extra auto attacks because of the slow after my E, which I'm always going to land an auto attack from it. Now, so what I'm saying is if you have to change your level 13 talent, it's almost best to change your entire build, purely because you're not going to be able to stick on people as long to get your second wind bonuses if you don't have those extra charges and slows. Instead, you're going to be focusing mainly on landing your Qs because your Qs are going to get extra value. So you're going to want to get your Qs there. Overall, the whole build will go back to the regular build, all based on this single level 13 talent, level 13 talent. So if you need to change and you need to pick one of these to counter like a Phoenix or to counter like a double healing comp, then you have to change your whole build. But if you were capable of getting this without hindering your team, then it's honestly the best build to go. I'm going to show you one last fight. We hit level 20 first, so I tell my team, I say, hey, let's try to force a fight because we're level 20 first. So we all move up here because we saw the enemies up here. Then we saw the enemies bottom lane. We say, nope, we want to force a fight. So we go bottom lane. And I know this sounds really strange for us to doing so much just to force a fight before level 20, but it's definitely worth it. So I immediately charge in. I don't realize that my team's not here yet. I made the call out, and I went first up here, so I figured, hey, they're probably going to be down here when I make the call out. They'll get there before me. So I moved immediately back down here, and they weren't quite down there yet, so it was risky. But what do I still have? I still have 2 charges to reduce all physical damage to me. Then, as long as I dodge this, I can still probably get out and maybe jump to my team. But I can also simply just do a taunt on someone to reduce the amount of damage I take. Overall, taking a lot of damage. But it doesn't really matter. I took a lot of damage there, but I was still alive. I used both of my charges as a parry, so now it's on a longer cooldown than if I would have gotten the other talent at level 10, but it kept me alive. And this is where the fight gets interesting. These fights where it's a little bit awkward, not only, I mean, these fights is where it really thrives to have this Varian build, because he can sit there and he can auto attack a lot. He can get a lot of healing off, and this is where this fight goes heavily in our favor. An amazing ley line where I'm able to slow the one person that's not ley lined by 70% slow. Our team's able to get close, and we completely zone her out by using her vault and everything, and I simply turn back into the fight and I start looking for other targets. I'm going for Deckard because his healing's been kind of insane. I taunt him, I auto-attack him, we finish off Deckard and Diablo, and then we go over and we finish off this person. I simply use my parry to survive the last of the Vala. Charge, taunt, heal myself with my Q, and 1 auto-attack. And then we have this that's pushing top, and as you can see, the amount of time, I'm not going to spoil anything, but just to put it simply, the time left in the game versus the time that they're dead, you can tell what happens. So, to put this simply, this build has a lot of utility, a lot of damage. I mean, if you want to look at the damage chart, now I'm 3rd. I'm not quite leading the damage chart anymore, but I'm doing so much damage. I mean, again, you can still see the damage that I'm doing. Sorry, I'm 4th in the game right now. As a main tank, like, look at their main tank for a second. Their Diablo is their main tank. His hero damage is half of mine. Half of mine. Our off-tank Bruiser, who should be doing more damage, is still only, like, he's 20,000 lower than I am. Our Medivh, who does a lot of damage, is doing less than me. So everyone in this game, I mean, I'm doing more damage than just about everyone, and it's an incredibly strong build with a lot of mobility, and the only worry is that people are afraid they're going to take more damage from spells, but if you jump on their mage, then their mage isn't going to want to be casting a whole bunch of spells at you. They're going to be trying to run away. So getting value out of this build is a lot easier than getting value out of any other build. So I just wanted to share this build really quick. I know I was stopping and starting a lot. I know I was doing whatever, but I hope you guys try out this Varian build. Personally, I think this Varian Taunt build is one of the easier tanks to play in the game, as well as he has just so much utility. And if you do it correctly, you can get a lot of damage. As you saw earlier up there, I pretty much was able to kill Kael'thas on my own. And down here, I was able to kill a Kayn on my own, pretty much. So, just comboing your abilities correctly can pretty much permanently slow people at the same time as permanently giving yourself extra damage. It's an incredible build. I highly recommend everyone try it out, especially if you're new to tanking. It's a pretty easy tank build to play. So, or at least pick up. It's easy to pick up, hard to master. Overall, hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching. And yeah, feel free to subscribe.